problem with Turning Point USA is that they're not going to get away from the Israel question because the younger generation has turned on Israel, including conservatives. They thought by getting rid of Charlie Kirk that they would be able to go full Zionism at TPUSA and this would all go away. Well, it's not going away. That happened just after AmFest. Listen to this.
Conservatives that question foreign aid to Israel get called anti-Semitic by some other conservatives. So am I anti-Semitic for questioning $38 billion sent in the last year while we have homeless American veterans on the streets in need of aid?
What's the premise of your own question?
I think there are some issues with Israel. I think AIPAC should register with FARA. I don't know how much collateral damage should be having in Gaza, but there's a certain limit of how many innocent children and women that should not be dying.
Does not look good for the Zionist takeover of TPUSA. There is a Zionist takeover of TPUSA for sure. Doesn't look good for them.
Go live on Jimmy
Hey,
Dore,
buddy.
please.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. Oh my God, it's almost like a regular time start. But I'm short a producer, so that's what happened. So if I had my normal, don't want to get anybody's hopes up, but it looks like we might be hooking up with Thomas Massey.
What?
Yeah.
How do you? What?
Hey, someone reached out to me.
Really?
Said, hey, somebody said, hey, was watching, people in Massey's office was watching your show. He said you wanted to have him on. They bada boom, bada bing. And so, yeah.
Wow. That's a long time coming.
Isn't that nice? So
yeah.
we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm just, fingers crossed. I don't count my chickens, right? Before they're, you know what I'm saying.
Don't get me started on chicken.
Don't call me gay. It's bad for our marriage. Very bad for our marriage. I'm here with the world's premier voice impressionist, Mike McRae, is on the line. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Jimmy, how are you? Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Yeah. I was watching last night on the TV. David Letterman is on TV still somehow. And they play clips from his show, but not his whole show. And they had a whole hour of George Clooney clips.
Oh, I always like sitting down and talking to Dave.
Yeah. They showed
rapping like a couple of gentlemen.
They showed They showed 2 or 3 times where Dave asked him the same question in different interviews. You know, how hey, they asked him if being on that hospital show he was on, ER. Does it ever seep in? Do you learn about medicine? And so,
do you think you could perform surgery just based on what you did?
Based on reading a script. And George Clooney was actually very funny both times. I saw.
I'm very charming, Jimmy. You know that. Come on.
He had remember when the guys had the Caesar haircuts?
Mm-hmm.
You remember those, Mike? No?
Well, he was in that movie, Hail Caesar.
Yeah, but I don't know if that was the Caesar haircut. Hail Caesar wasn't about Caesar, right?
It was about 1930s Hollywood, but George Clooney was playing Julius Caesar in a movie in that movie.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway,
but maybe you think, but back in the 90s, everyone did. Yeah, he and Antonio Banderas all had that Caesar cut as well.
Anyway, he was on David Letterman. It was great. All right, let's get to it, shall we, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey, this is Jimmy. Who's this?
Hey, what's up, dude? It's JD Vance. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Mr. Vice President. How are you doing?
Pretty good. I watched that Chevy Chase doc on CNN last night. Man, what a dick.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, dude. I thought maybe he was just misunderstood, and this show would show that he's just complicated. And they tried to do that, but it was clear this dude is just an asshole.
Really?
I'm Chevy Chase and you're not? Thank God.
Wow, right.
Anyway, back to the old grind today. Just raw dogging 2026. Getting it in there.
How's the mood at the White House this time of year, as this year begins?
Very good. I think I can safely say that we are all buoyed by the knowledge that Donald Trump's health is fantastic.
Yeah.
And we know this because he told us so. So there you go. Just knowing that he is like the healthiest president ever is so comforting, especially for me. I mean, I don't want this job yet. Not really. Yes.
In a recent interview, he said that what we previously thought was an MRI was actually a CT scan for unknown reasons, and that he takes a higher dose of aspirin than what the doctors recommend.
Yeah, that's how focused on his own health President Trump is. Doctors say, here, take this much pill. It's good for you. And then he says, well, then more pill would be even better for me. That's why he's the leader he is.
I see. Yeah. He says he wants very, very thin blood.
I know. He's a total health nut, but, you know, in his own way. He takes doctor's orders and then takes them into account and then decides on his own way of doing things like freestyle, just like he does as president.
A health nut who doesn't exercise and never has?
Exercise isn't for everybody, Jimmy. It's not a universally good thing.
No, yes, it is.
Well, that's your opinion. He feels that the human body is like a battery and that exercise simply drains it faster. And he's not wrong.
No, he is wrong.
Okay, fine. Maybe he is. But if he's not, he's literally like a health genius.
And all the weird bruises on his hands?
Well, as he said in that interview, that's from shaking so many hands and or the aspirin. Either way, both are totally normal causes of massive multichromatic bruising. But why are bruises even bad? I think they can look cool. I think that Miss Dolly Parton would call it a hand of many colors.
Oh, okay, fine.
Donald Trump is a man who is in touch with his mind and body like no one I've ever met. Donald Trump gets Donald Trump. He almost has a sixth sense about himself. And much like the aspirin overdosing and no exercising, he has many other Donald Trump-specific tricks for living a long life.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Well, the reason he likes McDonald's and other fast food so much is because it's highly processed. He thinks the focus on fresh food, fruits and vegetables, whole foods, natural ingredients is stupid because there's all sorts of germs and bugs in that stuff. With processed food, all that stuff gets cleaned out with chemicals and whatnot.
That's quite a theory.
Yeah, I never would have thought of that either. He also eats entire sticks of butter.
What? Excuse me?
Yeah, to him, butter is sort of a lubricant, you know? He says, just like a car engine needs motor oil to not overheat, the human body needs some lubricating agent inside it to keep everything from grinding together.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about that one. Yeah. And it is kind of distressing seeing an 80-year-old man eat a stick of butter like a Snickers during a meeting. Not to mention all the papers get all greasy and the table.
And no one's there to say, Mr. President, you probably shouldn't eat butter like that?
Honestly, I don't know whose job that would be. It's not in my job description. Secretary of Transportation, maybe?
Hey, remember how the Biden White House completely hid Biden's decline from the American public? Pretended nothing was wrong and treated Biden as if he were fine?
Oh, dude, for sure. I couldn't believe that shit. That was insane.
Do you see any parallels to what's going on now?
What? No. Are you crazy? You're crazy, man. Totally different. Biden was super old. Donald Trump is like 2 years younger. 2 whole years. And Biden was doing and saying things that didn't make sense. No. This is totally different, right? No. Yeah, it is. It's just butter, Jimmy. I mean, butter is food.
Okay, well, glad you have your eyes on the situation at least.
Eyes that are filled with awe and admiration every day of the week, Jimmy. Not only is he the greatest president we've ever had, personally, I told him after his term in office, he should become a health guru. That could be his next amazing business.
Really?
Yes, Jimmy, and I mean it. And I will continue to make statements like that until I no longer have to, and I pray for that day with every fiber of my soul. Oh, shit, did I say that out loud?
I'm afraid so, sir.
Well, I'll just have to make sure he doesn't hear this. Lately, the strategy has been to distract him with Funyuns. That's his new one. He literally thinks they contain the concept of fun. Gotta go, Jim.
Nicely done. Nicely done. Fantastic.
There he goes.
Never thought JD Vance. This is the most likable version of JD Vance. By far.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I love the raw dogging 2026.
Okay, ready? Hey, this is
what we're doing.
Yeah. Hey, this is. Hey, can I get some gum?
Yeah.
Hey, this is Jimmy. Who's this?
Hello, Jimmy. This is Andrew Cuomo calling. Let me add my voice to the chorus and wish you a happy new year.
Oh, Happy New Year to you, Governor. Did you do anything on January 1st?
No, just stayed home. Not much interesting was happening here in New York City on New Year's Day, which is typical. Basically, the entire city was exhausted from partying the night before and staying up so late. And, you know, the older you get, the more that takes a toll on you.
Tell me about it. Well, there was Zoran Mondami's inauguration as mayor and the festivities surrounding it. That was going on.
Oh, yeah, I think I saw something about that on the TV.
You didn't attend? Chuck Schumer was there. Bernie Sanders was there.
Oh, well, good for them. I hope they had a nice time. I was at home reading the newspapers, as I am now. And, Jimmy, I am blown away by what I'm seeing.
And what's that?
There's this little crime report section here on page 5 for all 5 boroughs. And yesterday alone, there was a murder in Far Rockaway, a carjacking in the Bronx, numerous petty larcenies and sexual assaults. It's just very disheartening what's happening to this city.
Is that more crime than normally occurs in New York City in one day?
I don't know. I've never actually read this little section of the newspaper before. But one thing is very clear.
What's that?
This is just the new normal in Zoran Mondami's New York. A wasteland of senseless violence.
One day, Governor, he's been mayor for one day. How could that possibly be enough time to change the crime patterns in New York?
A communist who doesn't even believe in prisons becomes mayor. And of course, that's going to be a signal, a flare, for all the criminal scum of New York to go crazy, to unleash a crime wave on our city, the likes of which we've never seen.
Okay, what was the crime report for December 31st?
Well, that's New Year's Eve, Jimmy. That day is an outlier. There's always more crime incidents.
Okay, how about December 30th?
I don't know. I threw that paper away already.
Oh, for crying out loud, put aside how insane it is to go by one day of crime statistics. How about the fact that he's keeping Mayor Adams' police commissioner, Jessica Tisch, who herself was never even a police officer? She's a Zionist and from a family of billionaires. Doesn't sound like the move of a radical communist Muslim mayor with a secret agenda to gin up crime.
Jimmy, these January 1st crime reports don't lie. Now, despite the fact I personally committed several of these crimes myself in order to jack up the numbers, the message here is clear. Zoran is soft on crime, bad for New York.
Oh, brother.
And you better believe everyone opposing him is going to softly imply that every crime that occurs in this city is because of Zoran. Which is great because this is New York. There's always crime.
Yes, that's my point.
But now we can blame it on a brown mayor with a funky name.
Don't you think the strategy's going to backfire?
Not really. Not really. Look at what he said during his inauguration speech.
I thought you said you weren't there.
Well, I wasn't there. I was on a rooftop about a block away in disguise watching with binoculars. Anywho, he said we are going to reject the ideology of rugged individualism and embrace collectivism after being sworn in on a Quran. He may have well banged his shoe on the podium screaming, "We will bury you," and then threw that shoe at George W. Bush.
Oh, come on. Anyone who thinks he's going to enact an actual far-left program for New York City is going to be sorely disappointed.
I don't give a shit about that. This is about what we can imply. Collectivism? What do you think that means? Collectively do crime. That's what. He's calling for a crime wave with a pinko tint to it.
Sure.
And honestly, Jimmy, I'm not sure if New York can survive Zoran.
Oh, my God.
By the time he's done, the only person who could clean up this town would be Snake Plissken.
Is this what you're going to do for the next 4 years? Hyperbole and scare tactics?
Absolutely. You better believe it, Buster Brown. You know, I used to cow Zoran by saying he has no balls. Not like you and me, at least. Well, I take that back. It takes massive balls to get elected mayor and then unleash a massive crime wave on the very city that elected you. Unprecedented cojones. Unlimited Stugotz. Respect where it's due, Jimmy.
Okay, great, Governor. We got to get going. Happy New Year.
Same to you, Jimmy. Have a good show, but hey, maybe stay inside for a while. I fear that this communist conflagration of crime instigated by Zoran Kwame Mamdani might go nationwide. Stay safe out there, Jimmy. Arrivederci.
Arrivederci. Okay, that was great. Nicely done. Thank you very much, buddy.
All right, buddy. I got people waiting on me, so I got to roll. But Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.
Okay, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Donald Trump is trying to end the Ukraine war, and I'm here to fight back. Come on, everybody! All we are saying is give war a chance. I'm very concerned about the future of the world right now, and I think the greatest threat to Mother Earth is peace. Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Potential peace has got to go! Donald Trump is talking to our enemy right now. That's very dangerous. Diplomacy has never worked with Russia before. The only way to avoid World War III is more war. Endless war. It worked so well in Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan. We helped those people, and now we have to help Ukraine. What do we want? Endless war! When do we want it? Now! I'm not just gonna sit back and let innocent weapons manufacturers lose money. Lockheed Martin needs me right now. All we are saying is give war a chance.
The problem with Turning Point USA, Erica, in her wisdom, brought Nicki Minaj to the TPUSA thing, and she made probably the biggest blunder I've ever seen in public. This is worse than George Bush saying the thing about Putin and saying that he invaded Iraq. And, oh, shit, that was me. I did that. So this is worse than that. Here they are sitting down. Let's watch.
And you have amazing role models like the assassin J.D. Vance, our vice president. And when I say that...
Even the third time I'm watching this, it's like, whoa. It looks to me like MK Ultra is getting sloppy. This is real. This, I think, is the most awkward cringe moment in the history of the world. It'd be like if she was sitting down with the Jackie Onassis 3 months after JFK and said, boy, I've got some news that'll blow your head off. The assassin LBJ.
Okay, we're back.
Welcome back. Guess what? So it looks like Bibi's going to get Trump to do another war on Iran. That's always been the plan. Let's remember, it's Somalia, it's Libya, it's Iraq, Iran, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and what's that other one? I keep forgetting. There's always seven. There's seven. But the big one is Iran. That's the last one on the... this is what General Wesley Clark said. They had this in the works before 9/11. Okay, so they had this in the works, and so at every country we've bombed. I think Yemen. So let's go: Iran, Iraq, Libya, Syria, Somalia, Lebanon, and Yemen. So that's seven. I think that's the seven. But anyway, Disclosed TV says Trump says the U.S. will support strikes on Iran if they continue with their ballistic missile program. Just like a Zionist Israeli comedian trying to work a regular club, Trump will continue to bomb until we are out. Ah, good joke, right, Chris? That's comedy's Chris Keene, ladies and gentlemen. So let's listen.
Will you support an attack, Israeli attack on Iran if Iran will not have a deal? If Iran will continue with their ballistic missiles and also nuclear weapons?
If they will continue with the missiles, yes. The nuclear, fast. Okay? One will be yes, absolutely. The other was, we'll do it immediately.
Now, did they dress like that just to show how much they love each other? Is that some kind of solidarity thing happening? I mean, if two women showed up wearing the same dress, one of them would go home and change. But this kind of stuff you see happen all the time. Hey, get more lapel pins, by the way. More lapel. What is with the lapel pins? It's like, do you guys work at TGI Fridays? What are you doing? Is that your flair? I need to have my 36 pieces of pro-war flair. So there's Donald Trump saying yes. Yes, if Iran continues developing ballistic missiles. Again, okay, here you're being force-fed fear of a Muslim takeover, so you won't realize Zionism already has. Here's what Ian Carroll says. Who do you think has the blackmail Epstein collected? Who do you think has that? Who do you think has the blackmail that Epstein collected? You don't think Benjamin Netanyahu has it? You don't think the Mossad has it? Of course they do. Who did he work for? Who did Epstein work for? He worked for, I'm going to say, Mossad, number one. That's where his Ghislaine Maxwell comes in because her father was Mossad. And, of course, Mossad works hand in hand with the CIA. So there you go. That's who I think he worked for. And, the old saying, behind every great man, well, there it is. Come on, am I right? I mean, they're even wearing the same clothes there. Even in that one. Look at that. This looks so weird. They're both dressed the exact same shade of blue. Am I wearing the exact same shade of blue that they are? No. This is a little different. That's a little lighter. This is a little darker. This color, by the way, I bet you nobody can guess this color. I know. Midnight blue, Jim? Close.
Oh.
Close. Here's what I could have told you the playbook, but this is a guy simp for Satoshi. This sounds like a guy who was super chatting me last week, and I dismissed that super chat because I didn't really understand it. But here, simp for Satoshi at I am Ginger Trash says, I kind of told you the playbook, but you probably didn't pay attention. Venezuela is a call option. Once they seize control, expect the Iranian ground invasion. Bookmark this post and prepare accordingly. So this is what that person was trying to tell me, and I couldn't get it through my head last week in the super chat. Do you remember who that was?
Yeah, I can find it.
So this is what they're saying. Everyone knows that Iran will eventually block the Strait of Hormuz, sending oil prices sky high. If this occurs, Trump must send boots on the ground. By taking Venezuela, however, he gets a call option on oil, allowing the U.S. to turn down an Iranian invasion request by Israel. So that's what he's saying? You're watching the deep state play chess while predicting the future. This way, the U.S. can sell weapons to Israel to back them while avoiding conflict altogether. Trump may be incompetent, but his administration is likely the best ever. I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far. This changes things, and it's possible that the U.S. escapes the potential three-front war it's currently facing: Ukraine, Taiwan, and Iran. Well, let's just remember what Charlie Kirk said. Should the U.S. get involved in Israel's war against Iran? Nope. So that had probably a lot to do with why he got killed. He's turning down Benjamin Netanyahu's offer of hundreds of millions of dollars. He's pissing off his Jewish donors. He's turning against Israel. And lo and behold, and he's going to do a Doe-style accounting to find out who's stealing from him inside of TPUSA. And before you know it, he got killed by a lone nut. Isn't that something? It's almost too perfect. A lone nut with a 30-06 that just left a little tiny itty-bitty hole. Tiny. Like as if he was struck with a lower caliber thing from close up, which is what Grok says. Grok says that he wasn't shot with a 30-06. Anyway, there you go. So Trump has one meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu, and the next thing you know, he's ready to bomb Iran again. So what they're saying is the reason why they're trying to secure Venezuela and the Venezuelan oil is so that when Iran blocks off the Strait of Hormuz, that we don't have to go to war with Iran because we got our oil over here. I get it. It makes sense, but I don't think that's it. I think he's going into Venezuela. I'm going to say 80% for Benjamin Netanyahu, because they are afraid of Venezuela turning the region anti-Israel. And so, the next person that they have in line to take over, just like Juan Guaido, this new person, I forget her name.
She's the one that got...
Yeah, she got the Nobel Prize, Mikado. What is her name? She's a Zionist. She's very pro-Israel. So you see this game and Maria Machado, is that it?
Maria Machado.
Machado. I say Mikado. Because I'm a fan of the theater. You ever see the Mikado? It's great. So yeah, that's what's so to me. And then the other 20% is for the American economic hitmen. They've been wanting to overthrow Venezuela at least for the last 25, 30 years. Okie dokie. All right. So, and if you like to hear my jokes about this, come see me January 11th. That's next Sunday, not this one, in Honolulu. Waikiki. And then February 20th in Lansing, Michigan. 21st in Milwaukee. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Over to Steph.
All right. Decoherent. Machado. Let's call the whole thing off. Just in. Thank you for that one. Happy New Year, bitches. I know you're like, oh, don't call me a bitch. Why not?
Why?
It's 2026.
Stop swearing.
Oh. All right, here
oh
we go.
My God.
I know. You get so upset when I swear. Hey, Mega Bolastico, please Google Giled Peled Mossad Nashville kill.
Oh, is that Michael Peled?
And then Fuzzy Balls, good to hear from you, Fuzz. Screw the Uniparty, they love war and Satan. Boy, it sure seems like it. Fuzzy Balls, hold on, Fuzzy. Gotta find my bell. Fuzzy Balls, when Jesus was on the cross and said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do," he was talking to Romans, not Herod or the church leadership. The delusion. Tammy Bruce, spokesperson of State Department, says that Israel is actually better than the USA. Sounds like we are occupied by people allied to a foreign power. Savage. I love your show and I love your stand-up. Your show and I love your stand-up. Amy. Hello, Amy Goodman.
Is that Amy Goodman?
It's not the real Amy.
I knew she was a secret admirer.
It's a different Amy. This one's AIMEE. Fuzzy Balls. Good to hear you, Fuzz. In 1946, Edgar Cayce, he foresaw in the future that Russia would be the final safe haven for Christians. Oh, can I have camera 4? I'll move over a little bit. There we go. Thank you. I forgot. It's 2026, everybody. I am still drunk as a skunk. Everything's a scam. Everything's a lie. It'll be true, just as true in this year as it was in 20. Made that rhyme, being to kiss. Thank you. Ask RSB has rated the stream. First rate of 2026. Let's look here. Jimmy, BC Sides, their guess is royal blue. The guess is royal blue, Jim. What?
This?
Yeah, or I got another guess. It was cobalt blue. What is the color you are wearing, Jim? People are talking. It's all over the chat, figuring out what your T-shirt color is.
That's
Jim,
not cobalt.
You say it's not cobalt?
That's no.
Oh, she's mouthy. She's a little mouthy. Jimmy, what color is it? You said we wouldn't believe it. You said it's not midnight blue. We got cobalt blue. BC Side says royal blue. People are out of their minds trying to guess, Jimmy. Is it Mikado blue? IBM big blue? Blue balls blue? Royal blue? Cobalt is a lighter blue. Prussian blue. Prussian. What is? Well, I think it's. You know what, Mac Truck? It does sound like it's blue balls blue. I think we're sticking with that one. Jim?
It's called, are you ready for the color?
We're ready. Everybody get ready. Show Jimmy.
It's called Skipper.
That is such bullshit.
This is called Skipper.
That isn't even that's not a color. Skipper is not a color. It's a character.
This is a wool.
Barbie.
This is a wool V-neck T-shirt. And the beauty of wool is that if I sweat at night, which I do, I did last night.
Boy,
I did.
Oh my.
It still keeps you warm. So when I quit smoking pot, I would have night sweats horribly every night. And so I used to wear a cotton t-shirt. Now I wear wool so when I would get up to go to the bathroom, I'd be freezing with the cotton. But with this, I didn't. And then by the time I'm back from the bathroom, it's already dried out. And then it doesn't smell. I don't know how that works, but wool t-shirts, you could sweat in them and you don't smell. They don't smell. I don't know it's true. So I'd like to do an endorsement of the people who make this. I get mine from Lords of Harlock, but I can't. I guess I just did a commercial for them. But I'd like to actually do a real endorsement if anybody knows anybody over at Lords of Harlock. Okay, back over to Steph.
Boy, I'm still sticking with blue balls. All right. I've never heard of Skipper. It's like all right. We should have done a Kalshi on the color of a shirt. Do they have any? We had a Kalshi opportunity right there. Okay, my T-shirt says, what does it say? Grateful Comic? Hold on. Let's move this. Grateful Comic. That's such an attraction. Huh? How many chins can I get? Is it, the Dore Clan, right? That was a nice shot. Huh? The Dore Clan, designed by the Miles Dore, presented to Jimmy and me for the holidays celebration of Christmas. So that's my shirt. I think somebody said, Steph, show us your shirt. I think that's what you said. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. More coming. Oh, that was funny. How dare you? What was it? Oh, yeah, that is not a good shot of me. Edit it out, a post. I don't want that out there. All right, let's go. Here we go, folks.
Okay.
Back to Jim.
So Marjorie Taylor Greene is leaving Congress, and she put up this post on December 22nd. She said, "Here are some interesting facts about Venezuela that are easily searchable." So, as you know, Donald Trump is very pro overthrowing Venezuela, doing a regime change war that Tulsi Gabbard used to call him a war criminal for before she got into his cabinet. Now she doesn't say that anymore. So Venezuela is predominantly a Catholic country with a very strong laws against abortion, with the exception being the life of the mother. Maduro has been critical of Israel, calling it genocide in Gaza, and he's against Zionism. Maduro's opposition, Maria Machado, is a strong supporter of Israel and wants to restore strong relations with Israel. She is more left-leaning on abortion and LGBTQ issues, just like Israel. Very LGBTQ thing. Most Americans I talk to are not buying that this is really about drugs and sanctioned oil tankers. And it's not about social issues. I just added that to highlight some differences in the two leaders. People voted in 2024 against foreign intervention. Oh, you son of a... People voted in 2024 against foreign intervention and foreign regime change, as we have seen far too many times how that's turned out. It's not good. Not good. And people are so sick of it. Everybody's saying, so sick. It's the most not good thing. Everybody say people are throwing up all over the place. Everybody agrees on this. What Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't understand is that America is a junkie with a ghost gun robbing everyone else just to get another taste. Hey, man, give me your wallet. I'm down a quart. My dipstick is dry, if you know what I'm saying. So Chicago Ray, who I like Chicago Ray, I don't often disagree with Chicago Ray, but this might be one of the times. He says, here are some other facts about Venezuela, Marge. They're trafficking narcotics and fentanyl into this country, and Americans are dying in huge numbers because of it. Leave America's security to those in charge. Well, first of all, we know fentanyl is not coming through Venezuela. It's coming through Mexico. So, and Marjorie Taylor Greene says Maduro has been critical of Israel, unlike his opposition. So this is the story they tell people. Oh, we're fighting drugs. They're not fighting drugs.
Mm-hmm.
The CIA has been caught time and time again facilitating tons of narcotics coming from Venezuela. So if the narcotics that come from Venezuela are cocaine, fentanyl's coming from China, Mexico. So, and then they're floating this new idea that somehow Venezuela is in control of our voting machines in the United States, and that's why Joe Biden won in 2020. Well, if that's the case, that's the same thing they used to say about Russia. Well, if Russia could rig the election for Trump in 2016, how come they couldn't rig the election for Trump in 2020? If Venezuela rigged the election for Biden in 2020, how come they couldn't rig it for Kamala Harris in 2024? So do you see the problem? So so Chicago Ray, they're just making up any excuse that people can glom onto to be behind another BS regime change war. That's what this is. Okay, just so you know. So J.D. Vance, remember when he said, killing cartel members who poison our fellow citizens is the highest and best use of our military. Killing the citizens of another nation who are civilians without any due process, that's called a war crime. I don't give a S what you call it, says J.D. Vance. Wow. J.D. Vance sounding very IDF these days. While the mainstream says IDGAF, if you know what that means. I don't give a F. That's what that means. Okay. Rand Paul says, JD, I don't give a crap. Vance says killing people he accuses of a crime is the highest and best use of our military. Did he ever read To Kill a Mockingbird? Did he ever wonder what might happen if the accused were immediately executed without trial or representation? What a despicable and thoughtless sentiment it is to glorify killing someone without a trial. He's right about that. Rand Paul happens to be right about that. I think the highest use of our military is blowing up Venezuelan fishing boats to justify a land invasion. That's what I think. So let's just remember, this is the United States military bases. Okay?
Not enough.
This is the United States military bases, and just remember what this has always been about. Look at that. Did you realize we have that many military bases in Central and South America? Did you know this? Look at that. So, and let's remember, so the real reason Venezuela is happening is for natural resources and Israel. And you think I'm kidding? This is Laura Richardson. She's a general. And let's listen to what she's going to talk about why the United States needs to be in control of South and Central America.
If I talk to my number two adversary in the region, Russia, I mean, I've got, of course, the countries, Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua with Russia relationships. But why this region matters with all of its rich resources and rare earth elements. You've got the lithium triangle, which...
What? How come J.D. Vance and Trump and Hegseth never mention this? They never mention all the resources they have. The general knows. She knows what the game is. It's all the natural resources. The first one she lists is lithium.
Is needed for technology today. 60% of the world's lithium is in the lithium triangle, Argentina, Bolivia, Chile. You just have the largest oil reserves, light sweet crude, discovered off of Guyana over a year ago.
Venezuela has more oil than Saudi Arabia.
We have Venezuela's resources as well with oil, copper, gold. We have the Amazon, lungs of the world. We have the 31% of the world's fresh water in this region too. I mean, it's just off the charts. We have a lot to do. This region matters. It has a lot to do with national security, and we need to step up our game.
We need to step up our game. And so if you really want to know, who was importing the drugs from Venezuela, could it be our CIA? Could it be our CIA? Could it be?
A ton of cocaine, pure cocaine worth hundreds of millions, is smuggled into the United States. Sound familiar? Not the way this ton of cocaine got here. According to what the former head of the Drug Enforcement Administration told Mike Wallace, this drug shipment got here courtesy of what he calls drug trafficking by the CIA in partnership with the Venezuelan National Guard. While rumors of CIA involvement in drug trafficking have circulated for years, no one in the U.S. government has ever before publicly charged the CIA with this kind of wrongdoing. And it's not the kind of accusation anyone in government would make without thinking long and hard.
Now, we understand what you're saying. A ton of cocaine was smuggled into the United States of America by the Venezuelan National Guard?
Well,
in cooperation with the CIA?
That's exactly what appears to have happened.
So, Chicago Ray, I love you. I'm just trying to give you the another point of view on this. Don't fall for the propaganda. And who's their number one opposition? Really? It's the civilian population of America, probably. Recent reports state that 60% of lithium is being prescribed to Manhattan residents, keeping them from collectively jumping off the Brooklyn Bridge right now. I like how they say light, sweet, crude. They even describe it like it's a fine wine. Pairs well with military obliterating farmers. That's what I say. Kind of weird how many innocent nations need to be taken over by our nation for our nation to feel secure, isn't it? All I can say is you better not be another nation wherever it is that you are. You better be America by the time we get there. So, Marjorie Taylor Greene letting you know, and so is Rand Paul. So that's just a little something you need to know about. Now you know why Marjorie Taylor Greene's on the way out. You can't tell the truth about that stuff and still be in the Trump good graces. You can't, or be in the GOP apparently. Okay, nicely done, Marjorie Taylor Greene. If you'd like to hear my jokes about this, come see me January 11th in Waikiki, February 20th in Lansing, Michigan, February 21st in Milwaukee. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Over to Steph.
Misha made me start reading a book. She said her brother recommended it and that I must read it for us to be able to have conversations, you know. And so I was forced. I don't read, I listen. That's the kind of, I got to do a lot of things. So this new book that her brother recommended, I believe it's called Dark Alliance, and it's by Gary Webb. Yeah, that's it, Gary Webb. Totally talking about the CIA colluding with the drug cartel in the United States and South America. And I was also examining the moment in, I believe it's chapter 1. Correct me if I'm wrong, Misha, she will. Where they're talking about Oliver North during those trials, the Iran-Contra. And I guess during the trial, people behind Oliver North were holding up signs saying, ask him about CIA and cocaine. Huh? This has been going on for decades, folks. Decades. So that's all. I know it's not a lot of information. I'm just starting to read the book. But I've got, according to Audible, I've got 20 hours to go. And I think I'm going to be able to do it when we come back. All right. But are you thinking to come to one of our shows? Are you going to Waikiki? That'll be fun. Am I going to see, LA sold out. But I will be seeing you in Lansing and Milwaukee. Get your tickets at jimmydorcomedy.com, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go here. Where's Kerp? CP wants to know. I can't tell you. It's top secret. It's top secret. These are things that I can't reveal.
Kurt had a bit of a, had to run to an urgent care.
All right. We're not supposed to reveal too much.
That's it.
All right, here we go. Killary says, how dare you ask a colorblind person what color your shirt is? But to answer your questions, obviously orange. Killary coming in strong. Tomato Machado Tomato Machado. That's be prepared. Thank you for that one. Carl says, this was interesting. Grok is also telling people to kill their parents, and they're doing it. Cyber psychosis is already here. Look it up. I'm going to be asking Grok, is that true, Carl? Steph, can we see your whole T-shirt design? I showed it to you, Mediocre Witch.
Okay.
Fun stuff. Back to Jim.
So we've all heard about the Somali daycare scandal that's happening in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's happening in Minnesota. Right now, I'm going to show you this, and I'm going to tell you how this ties into that scandal. You ready? So it's a big scandal, billions of dollars being funneled to Somali daycares and billions, right? And all of a sudden we're just hearing about it now. What? Well, guess what? Let's remember this.
So I came back to see him a few weeks later.
So this is right after 9/11. This is General Wesley Clark talking to people at the Pentagon right after 9/11. And guess what they told him?
And by that time, we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, are we still going to war with Iraq? And he said, oh, it's worse than that. He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today. And he said, this is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years. Starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran.
He said Somalia. What? What? Somalia? Why would we be going into Somalia? What the heck is that about? Okay, so here's a guy. This is Mehdi Shoshani, and he's the host of TBN Israel. And here's what he's going to tell you that you don't know about the Somali daycare scam. Here we go.
How is the Israeli Mossad related to the recent corruption that was discovered in Minnesota? You're not going to believe it, but there actually is a substantial connection, and it runs through the Israeli Prime Minister office. I'll start from the end. Israel just established relationships with Somaliland, which is not Somalia. But the backstory to the whole Minnesota corruption story is that much of those funds, and again, I think the initial number that came out is about $9 billion. Again, this is crazy. American taxpayer money of, let's say, $15 billion that they imagine were stolen or misdiverted from public funds. About $9 billion of those were sent back to support terrorism, or what they would call the Muslim Brotherhood actions, and this is tied into Qatar. And Israel, of course, was behind the scenes, and I know people love these conspiracies, in leaking some of the information that is responsible or related to the funding of terrorism using that exact money. So the fact that Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has a phone call and recognizes Somaliland is tied into Qatar being a supporter of the Muslim Brotherhood, tied into the Somali funds that were stolen in Minnesota funding terrorism in the Middle East. That is a story that came out right now. It really blows my mind how global terrorism works, but it's such an amazing thing that it was uncovered, and I'm sure there's more news to come on this topic.
Okay, so here's where Gen X girl comes in. She says the timing, who benefits from amplifying a scandal now that was uncovered back in 2020? Because it was. Isn't that weird? So, and she links to this. She says, so how beneficial do you think it is for Americans to be outraged at Somalis right now when Israel wants the U.S. government to support its effort to break up Somalia into 2 countries where Israel has a military base and is really in the Israel-backed portion of Somalia, which is called Somaliland? Wait, what? Yeah. So there's a big idea that they want to send the Palestinians to Somalia, but not the Somalia, but the Somaliland, which, by the way, they've been talking about Somaliland, who has the Zionists, for 80 years. This is not a new thing. So here, notice how quiet suddenly it got about that huge Epstein drop that's getting dipped wholesale into a vat of black ink as we speak. Gen X, 100%. So they're about to pull out more distractions than a magician at a child's birthday party. So Israel says Mossad was behind the Somali fraud story. Really? It causes mass outrage in the United States. Boy, has it. Israel claims money going to terrorism. Israel claims Qatar is behind it. Israel built military site in Somaliland. Israel recognized Somaliland, breaking Somalia into two rival. So that just happened where Israel recognized Somaliland. Isn't that something? Israel built advanced military facilities in Somalia. No, in Somaliland. Satellite images reveal that Israel built an advanced military facility at the Berbera Airport in Somaliland. The United Arab Emirates has developed a strong military presence at this airport since 2017. So you see how they're all working together? Just like ISIS and Al-Qaeda is working with the Mossad, Israel, and the CIA. Just like Benjamin Netanyahu begged Qatar to fund Hamas. Do you see how they're all working together? They have military bases in the same Somaliland, Qatar, and Israel? What? So do you see this game that's happening now? I hope you do. Philosophian says, if you said this before, you'd have been called anti-Semitic conspiracy theorist. Israel media, Mossad has been involved in paving the way for breakaway Somaliland for years. Behind Israel's recognition of Somaliland, years of quiet Mossad involvement. Israel becomes the first UN member to recognize Somaliland as a sovereign state, drawing condemnation from Somalia, from Turkey, and Egypt. The move reflects strategic interests near Houthi-controlled areas and years of quiet Mossad engagement. Really? No kidding. And by the way, when Israel recognizes you, how they are recognizing Somaliland, when they recognize you, it's kind of like when a mountain lion sees you. It just means that they're coming for you next. That's what that means. So here, Mark Dubowitz says, for those mocking why Israel would engage Somaliland, look at the map. Somaliland sits on the Gulf of Aden, next to the Bab el-Mandeb, a choke point for global trade and energy. Across the water are Iran-backed Houthis firing on Israel and shipping. Somaliland offers stability. It offers ports, intelligence access, and a non-Iranian platform on the Red Sea. Similar reasons why the U.S. has a military base in Djibouti. Really? Okay. There it is. Somaliland. Somalia. Somaliland. There's Yemen. Those are the people who were bombing Israeli boats because Israel's committing a genocide against the Palestinians. So the people in Yemen, the Houthis in Yemen, are doing what the rest of the world should be doing, sanctioning Israel over a genocide it's committing. But they're not. Of course they're not. Of course they're not. So there it is. Somaliland is Israel's 80-year-old project. The project was called Harar Council. The 34-page documents on his link tree, linked in bio. So what does this say? Here, I'll just read a little bit to you. My proposal is to unite the so-called Harar territory of Ethiopia with parts of the British Somaliland and create there a state for the European Jews. This territory is large enough. It would be easy to devote 60,000 to 70,000 square miles there for this purpose. This territory is inhabited by a small agricultural population who are not likely to raise great difficulties, unlike the Palestinians. Nevertheless, it will be necessary to remember the lessons learned by the Palestine experience, namely to prevent the territory being overrun by people from other parts of Ethiopia and to keep out foreign agitators, like Palestinians. There were the foreign agitators in Palestine. The climate on the plateau is absolutely healthy and suitable for Europeans. Those parts of the Somali coast which have a bad climate could be improved in measurable time by irrigation. So there you go. Politically, these territories belong, as already stated, to Great Britain and the Empire of Ethiopia. In July of 1935, the British government proposed to the Emperor of Ethiopia that the port of Zilia and certain other parts of the British Somaliland be ceded to him if he were prepared to make certain concessions to Italy. It is therefore not impossible that the British government may today be ready to cede a rather larger portion of Somaliland together with the port of Berbera to the European Jewish state we have in mind. So it was already not going well for Israel and Palestine in 1935, and they were looking to go to Somaliland. Well, now it seems like they're looking to send all the Palestinians to Somaliland, where they already have military bases and Qatar. That's what it kind of looks like. That's all I'm saying. It kind of looks that way. And the Somali fraud story will blaze all the headlines and obscure the entire narrative of resettling the Palestinians to Somalia. This is the magician's trick, twirling around while a magician sets up the trick. This is the magician's assistant twirling around while a magician sets up the trick. It's all smoke and mirrors, and it's so glaringly obvious. There it is. There it is. Gen X girl goes on, everyone's outraged over the Somalia scam, understandably, but where is the outrage over Trump's pardons of wealthy criminals who scammed billions from Medicare? So we've already covered this. No one cared about this. People stole billions of dollars from Medicare. Trump pardoned them. Why? Well, one of them was at the behest of Israel for sure. Mm-hmm. This one here, Philip S. Teformes. He bilked $1.3 billion from Medicaid. He got a full pardon from Trump. So now we're supposed to care about $9 billion. Everybody's outraged, and rightly so. But nobody was upset that Trump pardoned a guy who stole $1.3 billion from Medicaid and Medicare. No one cared about that, but everybody cares about the $9 billion in Minnesota. Isn't that weird? It's weird that no one cares about this. There's another guy, $1.7 billion. There's another guy, $4.3 billion. HDR Global, $100 million, 1.2. So there you go. So there you go. So now you know a little bit more about the story. Do you really think that this just broke now? That they didn't know about this? Project Veritas, I'm pretty sure, broke this story in 2020 about the daycare centers in Minnesota. Joe Biden's Justice Department was investigating it. I think they might have even prosecuted some people. Don't hold me to that. But so now you know the rest of the story. Well, here's what this guy has to say.
About the Somali fraud in Minnesota, USA, I really think people need to start seeing the bigger picture here. Do you really believe that some Somali people living there in Minneapolis could get away with defrauding the state for, say, $9-10 billion a year?
No. My answer would be no. I don't think they could be doing that without help from the deep state.
Of course not. Washington, D.C. is totally involved in this and not only allowed it to happen, but made it happen. So that's because Israel recently recognized Somaliland, part of Somalia, as an independent state. Why would Israel do so? Well, they need a place to deport the Palestinians to. But you don't just get a piece of land where you can deport 2 million people to. You have to pay for it. And that's what this is. The U.S. is the greatest ally of Israel. Remember, the United States citizens, middle-class people, taxpayers, are going to pay for that. This whole scam, the Somali care system scam, whatever, to me looks like an annual rental agreement where the U.S. taxpayer is now forced to pay $10 billion a year to the Somali elites, to Al-Shabaab, the terrorist organization, and so on, in exchange for a piece of land where Israel can then deport the Palestinians to. Your whole government is corrupt, okay? And this is just Somalia. Imagine what the USA is doing with India. Imagine how much money you're bleeding to India.
So that comes from this guy, Johannes M. Cohenbratt, and he wrote a Substack called, "Is the FBI Investigating or Organizing the Somali Fraud?" Well, here's what he said. "I find it hard to believe that Somalia could pull this off on their own where no one else could. How come Mexicans or Puerto Ricans never could do this? Are Somalis with their average IQ below 70 such law tech geniuses that only they could pull off such a massive fraud and apparently get away with it fairly undetected ever since Obama sent Somalis to Minnesota in 2014? At the same time, as I said, Israel recently became the first country worldwide to recognize Somaliland, a breakaway region of the northwest of Somalia, as a sovereign nation. This raised my suspicion. Why would Israel care to recognize some breakaway region as a sovereign nation? Well, for starters, Somaliland is close to the Gulf of Aden, the entry point into the Red Sea, which leads up to the Suez Canal. This gulf is one of the crucial linchpins supplying the West with international trade coming out of India and China overseas. Apparently funded by the United Arab Emirates, Israel is already building military bases in Somaliland. The U.S. has bases in neighboring Djibouti. The location near the Gulf of Aden appears only extra crucial vis-a-vis the incessant attacks coming out of Yemen across the Gulf, where the Houthi rebels have been using Iranian or even Chinese-backed drone systems to attack the U.S. Navy's, Israel's, and NATO's vessels. The cheap rebel drones have been wreaking a ton of havoc and have also made the West lose some face, since its super advanced systems are no match against the primitive sticks and stones being thrown at it. But one does not simply acquire a piece of land the size of a country, not without war or without bribery. To secure Somaliland in the ever-complexifying geopolitical struggle for Western dominance, Israel and its greatest ally, the USA, if not Britain, would have to have offered the Somali elites something of value. And that's how I made the connection to the Somali fraud cases in Minnesota. Wait, did Obama really send Somalis to Minnesota in 2014? Yes, he did. The problem was neither the USA nor Israel could be seen bribing Somali elites to give up Somaliland. So I think the whole migration of people to Minnesota served as a payment scheme, perhaps a rental scheme. The people who would later commit massive fraud against U.S. authorities were being shipped in under Obama, but this doesn't let Trump off the hook. Trump, the narcissist, is more concerned about winning his Nobel Peace Prize, which Israel's Netanyahu personally promised him to get. Trump seems controlled by Israeli interests, you think? What I find hilarious, though, is that the U.S. ruling circles chose to do a fraud scheme to the benefit of terrorist organizations such as al-Shabaab in Somalia. Why didn't they just give the Somali leaders some theme parks, landmarks, or skyscrapers? I guess that too much of U.S. real estate has already been promised to Arabs, Russians, and Chinese investors. They're running out of options to bribe foreign partners unless they start taking the money directly out of the social services coffers. Yes, in short, I believe the Somalis that Obama brought in were henchmen. And I believe these henchmen were given free rein by both Washington, D.C. and the FBI to commit fraud. And no, I don't think the FBI director, Kash Patel, is going to do anything about it because the FBI isn't investigating the fraud. The FBI is organizing it. So that's this guy's theory. Now, I can't vouch for the veracity of his theory or any of these theories. But it certainly is interesting. There's definitely a connection between the fraud of Somalian people in Minnesota with Israel recognizing Somaliland and wanting to get the Palestinians to Somalia. There's definitely a connection there. There's definitely a connection there. Okay, so I mean, everybody has seen Nick Shirley's reporting on the unbelievable fraud happening through daycare centers and Somalians in Minnesota. It's got over 100 million views on his report, and he's been boosted by everybody. And James Lee is here to tell you there's another side to this story about Nick Shirley And let's listen.
So it turns out one of the most viral stories of 2025 about the Somali daycare fraud in Minnesota ends up being a complete psyop. Because evidently, Israeli reporters are now asserting that Mossad and Israeli intelligence, not U.S. authorities, were responsible for exposing the Somalian-ran Minnesota fraud operations.
How is the Israeli Mossad related to the recent corruption that was discovered in Minnesota? You're not going to believe it, but there actually is a substantial connection, and it runs through the Israeli Prime Minister office. I'll start from the end. Israel just established relationships with Somaliland, which is not Somalia.
And what does that mean? Let's take a listen.
Does anyone know what Somaliland is, really? Said U.S. President Donald Trump after Israel became the first country in the world to recognize the self-proclaimed republic in Eastern Africa. Somaliland is a small territory in the Horn of Africa that broke off from Somalia in 1991. So why does Somaliland even matter? It sits on the Gulf of Aden, one of the world's most important shipping routes. There is also a Gaza-related angle. Earlier this year, it was reported that the U.S. and Israel have explored Somaliland as a potential destination for displaced Palestinians from Gaza.
And bingo, that is why we've been hearing so much about Somalian fraud in Minnesota, because it had already been reported weeks before by the U.S. attorney that fraud in Minnesota exceeded $9 billion. $9 billion, that's a whole lot of fraud compared to, what was it? Nick Shirley talked about $110 million, $9 billion. We're talking about a small fraction, but focusing specifically on the Somali community. And then you have the amplification of this story, which isn't necessarily organic, right? You have people like Elon Musk, Vice President J.D. Vance, Attorney General Bam Bondi, all amplifying this story. I'm not discounting that the fraud exists within the Somali community, but is the focus, is the amplification making us feel a certain way, or trying to make us feel a certain way about the Somali community? That's the question. Now, according to Somali intelligence, Somaliland has accepted 3 Israeli conditions in exchange for Israeli recognition. 1 is the resettlement of Palestinians. 2, the establishment of an Israeli military base on the coast of the Gulf of Aden, and Somaliland joining the Abraham Accords. Well, isn't that a lovely and convenient development for the state of Israel, that they get somewhere to dump the Palestinians? They also gain a critical and strategic military base, and they create an ally in the region that did not exist before. So maybe they get a resident independent journalist who maybe isn't so independent if you read what this story is all about.
Well,
to do a story that says Somalians bad.
Well, it certainly seems fishy. And James is on it. And as we reported in the other video, that the Somaliland is real. All those things are really happening. And I think if you take the Nick Shirley story at face value, you are doing exactly what they want you to do. That, by the way, again, this story was has been reported several times about this daycare scandal. It was reported as far back as 2013. But it was also reported, can you look into, I'm almost positive Project Veritas.
I couldn't find it, but I'll look again.
I'm almost positive that Project Veritas in 2020 exposed this scandal of fraud in Minnesota. So great jobs by James Lee. Everybody check him out at 5149, his website. Don't get caught up in a psyop.
You're correct.
I am correct. What? Tell me.
Well, this is one thing that they said. You know what? Let me keep reading. The video is purported to show a cash for ballot scheme and illegal ballot harvesting, collecting and submitting mail-in ballots within the Somali community. No, that's what they reported on.
Okay,
yeah,
that's different.
That's one thing that they reported on. Sorry.
No problem. So, great work by James Lee. Don't buy it. Don't fall for the psyop. Don't fall for the trap. Is there fraud happening in Minnesota? Oh, yes, there is. But who is behind it? And why would they choose to amplify this now? Those are the questions you need to be asking yourself, so you don't get suckered into another deep state Israel psyop. So keep your head up, keep your eyes open, keep your head up, and don't get sucked in. You guys find anything?
Still looking.
No? You find anything, Chris?
You'll probably find it faster.
From 2018?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And who made that report? Okay. Yeah. So again, this isn't this idea of this daycare scams happening have been reported on. This isn't the first time. Why all of a sudden now is everybody up in arms about it? Why all of a sudden now is this? You get everybody amplifying this report. Why all of a sudden now? Well, it probably has something to do with Israel, Palestinians, and funding of terrorism. Which, let's remember, the biggest terrorists are the United States and Israel. Just keep that in mind. Great Britain also. And if you'd like to hear my jokes about this, come see me January 13th. No, January 11th. That's a Sunday in Waikiki. February 20th, I'll be in Lansing, Michigan. February 21st in Milwaukee. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Over to Steph.
Okay. Hollow says, when I tell people Jews were doing magic blood rituals on corpses in secret tunnels under New York, they think I'm lying. When I prove it, they commonly say, well, it's not all Jews. Hollow. CR Card, nice new shirt. Karen, you said Nick wanted to see the t-shirt, so I grabbed another one so I wouldn't have to make that pose again. See? Look at that. Look at that. Would you look at it? Pretty good. Grateful comic. My brother.
brother.
I love that. He designed it. Thank you. Karen, did Nick see it? All right. Mediocre Witch, thank you so much. It's because Venezuela overthrew our election with Smartmatic machines. As the North Star, those Venezuelans. MTG is correct. Look up the Isaac Accords. Tarot Man. That they caught Venezuela in 2020. That's the difference. The North Star. Good girl. Do you think that our First Amendment will be removed this year due to the fact that their diddler handlers are demanding it? Just chilling. Oh my gosh, I think Jimmy might be playing a clip later today about First Amendment. And yeah, you know, I think First Amendment is really getting out of hand. All right. Thank you. Just chilling. A friend turned to me and I was doing open mic, and she turned to me and she was like really upset because this one comic had been doing comedy and talking about concentration camps. And she felt that it was very divisive, this kind of comedy right now. Very divisive because there's a lot of hatred towards, Jews and Israel. And I'm like, Zionist, all right? I don't like a Zionist, right? And so she was really upset. She's like, I just don't think he should be talking like that. It's divisive. There's a lot of hate happening right now. And I'm like, no, I think that's exactly where you should be doing it. It makes you uncomfortable. I think stand-up should make you uncomfortable. I've seen different comics make me uncomfortable, and it's like, they get to talk about, you should be able to talk about on stage, and hopefully it's funny, right? And if you're ignoring the real prescient issues right now, and you're just talking about swiping, I think there's important stuff to talk about. And it's a great platform. Okay. So do you think that our First Amendment, Jimmy, do you think our First Amendment will be removed this year due to the fact that their diddler handlers are demanding it? What do you think? Show Jimmy.
It's already been. They're already deporting people for the First Amendment. They're already doing all that stuff. So yeah, it's already happened. It happened long ago. It happened during COVID. But now it's Trump is really doubling down with his DEI for Jewish people, which is really Zionists, not Jewish people, but for Zionists. And he's implementing hate speech laws, which, let's remember, Charlie Kirk said there's no such thing as a hate speech in America. It's just speech. So, yeah.
But you're not into sensible censorship?
Oh, sure, sensible.
Okay.
Sure. You
All right,
gotta
we're in agreement there. Finally. All right. Sloop JB. Hold on, Sloop. Belated Happy New Year to you, Jimmy, Steph, Misha, and of course, Chris. Are you planning on coming back to the OC? Sloop JB. Probably won't be there for about 18 months, just so
Where?
you know. The OC.
Orange County? Oh, yeah,
That's
we
what
were
I
just
think.
there.
Yeah. Misha, this is from Sloop. Hold on. Why isn't that loud enough? Hold on, Sloop. Misha, the next time one of those weirdos on IG or X asks for a picture of your feet, oblige them. Break out a tape measure, measure out 2 feet, 4 feet, etc. Snap a picture and send them the pic. Sloop, it sounds like you're indulging that kind of behavior. I got confused there. All right, just chilling. Thank you so much. Just chilling.
I got nervous when you said Misha colon. That's none of my business. Did you have another jackfruit?
Oh,
or dragon fruit.
Dragon fruit.
I'm telling you right
yellow
now,
dragon fruit.
ladies and gentlemen, you must be careful if you gift somebody dragon fruit. There turns
Yellow
out
dragon fruit.
yellow dragon fruit, to be specific. It's a cleanser, right?
It's got fiber. That's all it has. It's just. I think people overdo it. Like people who say people say they eat a dragon fruit and then they get the explosive diarrhea. It's those people are low on fiber, I think. Right? Do you eat a lot of fiber, Misha?
I ate a lot of salad.
Well, that's fiber.
Yeah,
Sure.
different kind. And there are 2 kinds of fiber.
No, there's just
insoluble and soluble.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She's so smart.
Not really. Not really. Okay. So here is Israeli billionaire Shlomo Kramer. And he was on CNBC. And he's going to let you know that the First Amendment is a nuisance to people like him. And he's going to tell you we got to get rid of it. You ready? Let's listen.
Network, Shlomo Kramer, also one of the founders of Checkpoint, another big cyber company. Shlomo, it's great to have
He's a founder of these big Checkpoint. So it doesn't sound good, right? Sounds like another Mossad operation. Oh, Checkpoint. What? Okay, here we go. It sounds like Palantir. Checkpoint.
Have you here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
How is AI, cyber warfare, shaping geopolitics right now?
So AI is going to revolutionize cyber warfare, is revolutionizing cyber warfare from critical infrastructure to the fabric of society and politics and undermining it, giving unfair advantage to authoritarian governments against democratic countries, First Amendment type of...
That's already happening?
That's already happening. You're seeing the polarization in countries that allow for the First Amendment and protect it, which is great. And I know it's difficult to hear, but it's time to limit the First Amendment in order to protect it and quickly before it's too late.
What do you mean?
I mean that we need to control the platforms, all the social platforms. We need...
You hear this? This is amazing, all the stuff he's packing in just a few minutes. He's really packing it in. He's the founder of Checkpoint. What was the name? Totalitarian surveillance state already taken? So, okay, here we go.
To stack rank the authenticity of every person that expresses themselves online.
So every person who's online, you cannot go online unless you are already verified by the government who you are. That's what they're saying. So no more anonymous posting, nothing. Really? Does that even pen names? So like Mark Twain would have to say, I'm really Samuel Clemens if he was writing today? Yes, according to, for this guy, yeah.
And take control over what they are saying based on that ranking.
So he just said everybody needs to be verified by the government to be able to post on social media, and then we control what they're saying by their rankings. She cuts him off. I wish she didn't cut him off because he was going to tell you it's a social credit score. By their rankings, it's their social credit score. So we become more and more like China without the flying cars and the high-speed rail. and the health care for everybody. I'll back this up a little bit, just so you can hear it again.
Authenticity of every person that expresses themselves online and take control over what they are saying based on that ranking.
And take control? Oh, he's literally just saying it out loud. And you watch the two CNBC News twits. Not only do they not push back on this, they just keep it's like they're cheering it on. They don't go, whoa, I'm in the news business in America. I know the importance of a First Amendment.
The government should
control the social media.
So she just clarifies. So the government, you're talking about the government should control social media. He's like, yeah. She's like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, that's okay. She doesn't go, are you nuts? You know undermines the whole basis of this country? Do you not get that? That we're not supposed to be the Soviet Union. We're not supposed to be China. We're not supposed to be Saudi Arabia. That we're about freedom. And the First Amendment, that's why it's first, because it's the most important, freedom of speech. But they don't go, whoa, they don't. They go, oh, yeah, so you're just saying government controls it? Yeah, it makes sense.
To do that. Take control over what they are saying based on that ranking.
The government should control the social media.
Should do.
Yeah, and this guy's not even flinching. That guy doesn't flinch. She doesn't flinch. She's just like, yeah, okay. Well, I'm certainly not going to go against an Israeli billionaire who's into cybersecurity. They know where their bread is buttered and how to stay safe.
And we need to educate people against ICE, and government need to develop cyber defense programs that are as sophisticated as the cyber attack. Today it's a 1 to 100 ratio. And really, government are not doing this today at any rate, and enterprises are left fending for themselves.
The technology is moving much faster than the political system typically can to respond to it.
So you need to use technology in order to stabilize the political system, and you need to put adjustments that are perhaps not.
I mean, we're at a point, though,
necessary.
Right? I can go on Instagram.
So yeah, I think he's getting ready. Yeah, but come on, we live in a country with the First Amendment, and there's already been censorship that people voted against in 2024. Yeah, that's what I thought he was going to say. No, but what he says, he goes to give an example of why what this guy's saying would be a good idea. Watch this.
I mean, we're at a point, though, right? I can go on Instagram or TikTok, and frankly, it already is becoming unclear what is fake and what is real.
Exactly.
And once you eliminate that ability to discern truth from fiction, then what are you left with?
Well, then you just get the government to control everything, right? That's what he's saying. The government controls everything. You think I'm kidding? Listen, it gets even worse.
You're left with polarization of society and inner fighting, and
So he's saying, because of people making AI videos and posting them, that leads to polarization and infighting in your society, which, by the way, is exactly what they want. But guess what his solution is?
You have to control that, and you see that
you
already.
have to control it, meaning the government has to control what people are posting on social media, meaning the government has to police your speech.
Happening across the world. So this is an urgent need by the government to do that. And until then, enterprises are buying by themselves more and more cybersecurity solutions, but they can't afford all these solutions by themselves. So they are looking for ways to deliver a more efficient consumption.
And I assume you have some of those ways, obviously.
Right. So, and that drives really the next generation of companies such as Wiz, CrowdStrike, Cato Networks on the network that are platforms and are able to deliver this extended need for security in an affordable way for enterprises.
For enterprises,
right.
Not for governments.
Not for government, but government need to start building their programs. And the same tools can be used also by government.
But the two leaders in AI, one is China, which obviously already is using AI to control the population. Yeah. And here we're all out in a race with China. And so we're not as interested in regulation right now, certainly not at the state level, for example.
And that's
first of all, Trump just signed an order saying that the states cannot regulate AI. So they're taking, so the exact opposite of what conservatism usually is about. It's about local control. Trump is taking the control away from people in their local municipalities and giving it to central government, the federal government, which is the opposite of what conservatives are supposed to be for. So they're already doing that. So they're already saying no control of AI.
a big mistake, because if China has a single narrative that protects its inner stability, and the U.S. has allows for multiple narratives, it puts them in an unfair advantage that long-term is going to cost the stability of the nation.
So what he just said is, well, if China controls everyone's speech and they can have one narrative get out into their communities, into their society, just one narrative that the government controls, while the United States has everybody being able to say whatever they want, and that's bad, and that gives an advantage to China, and that's going to come back to hurt us. So in order to fight back against China, we have to have one narrative also, meaning we have to censor everybody and have the government control our social media and speech. And they're sitting there going, oh, yeah, makes sense. That's why we're news people. Not an original thought in their brains, not a skeptical question, nothing. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. I think it's amazing.
So changes must be made.
So change, because the First Amendment, we have to get rid of it to save it. We have to burn down that village so we could save that village. Isn't that what that sounds like? That's exactly what that sounds like. I wonder where I heard that from. Was it Vietnam? So I just hate to tell you, Israel, you already blew it. You blew it by committing a genocide and bullying everybody to go along with censorship. You're like the white comic who opened with the wrong bit at the Apollo, and there's no coming back from that. You got to bug out. So you should be in your hideout shredding documents and faking your demise for the media. Here's what Glenn Greenwald said. He said, genuine thanks to Israeli billionaire Shlomo Kramer for stating so explicitly and unflinchingly what so many other top Israelis and their U.S. loyalists are saying, albeit a bit more subtly. Americans must learn to accept limits on our First Amendment rights. And that's what Benjamin Netanyahu has been screaming about. Remember, and that's why they did the false flag in Australia, was to pressure people to get down to one narrative and censor people who were saying negative things about Zionism and Israel. And that's what this is all about. So you remember that, right? Do you remember they did that, right? Okay. So Benjamin Netanyahu is pushing out, and Trump's doing it for them. He's got the colleges to do it. He's gotten hate speech implemented for Zionists on college campuses. He's got DEI for Zionists on college campuses. He's deporting people who speak critically of Israel. He's doing all that stuff already. He's threatening funding to colleges if they don't censor on behalf of Israel, stuff like that. And let's remember what Mersheimer said. The single greatest threat to freedom of speech in the United States at this point in time is Israel and its supporters here in the United States. March 13th, 2025, he said that. Okay. All right. Well, here's a little bit more. Village Crazy Lady Mel says, this guy, Jay Collins, he's a lieutenant governor of Florida, which a lot of people are saying Florida is like a vassal state to Israel, or it's the new Israel. So here's what he have to say. Let's listen to what he had to say. Okay, ready?
You don't have the right to harm other people.
So you don't have the right to harm other people, even with your words. Watch this.
You don't have the right to harm other people with your words, and you don't have the right to say things that have really negative, really horrible meanings. When you want people to destroy Israel, that matters.
I like what Mel says. She says, yes, I do, Jay. I absolutely do. Full stop. God gave me that right, and only God can take away that right of me saying whatever I want, no matter whose feelings it hurts. Dude had one private meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu, and now he's got a full-blown God complex. WTAF? What in the actual F? So where do we draw the line at the sensitivities of others? When does it become an actionable by the government to shut you down? What about the nutcase sitting across from you on the bus who gets offended every time you use the word "the" in a sentence? What about that guy? So here, they're going after the First Amendment in broad daylight. This is even worse than taxing us for Israel without our representation or consent, which alone warrants revolution. They're finally going for the vault, as the saying goes. This is it. This is it. So, remember what Elon Musk said about free speech?
I acquired X in order to preserve freedom of speech in America, the First Amendment. And I'm going to stick to that. And if that means making less money, so be it.
And when this got tweeted out, he said, without freedom of speech, the West will fall. He said that December 5th of this year. But of course, we know he's also a what they call subservient to Israel. We also know that. So, will he stand by his free speech? Will he stand up to this garbage? Will he stand up to the lieutenant governor of Minnesota? Fascinating seeing these so-called anti-woke warriors change on a dime to become special DEI snowflakes for Israel's genocide program. Kirley says, already failed in Australia. I have $95,000 in damages I have to pay for identifying two males in a female sport. Truth speech has been rebranded as vilification and hate speech. Truth speech is now hate speech. Newsmax, Harvard University began punishing students who were involved in campus anti-Israel protests. There it is. That's at the behest of Trump.
Yeah, they definitely should get rid of those critical thinkers who
Yes.
are protesting.
That should be chilling. The Patriot Voice says, remember that Trump has tapped Palantir to create an entire database of all American citizens. It brings no pleasure for me to inform you that Donald Trump is actively working with the very same deep state he claimed he would obliterate to create the largest surveillance database of Americans ever created. The plan is in lockstep with the UN Agenda 2030 goals and the WEF Fourth Industrial Revolution. Wait, remember the first time I heard about the Fourth Industrial Revolution? Remember who it was who told me about that? Isn't that interesting? Not Kathleen Madigan. MAGA, if you're observing this from afar and holding on to any semblance of hope that Trump is who he said he was, sadly, it's time to wake up to a brutal realization. So this is what's coming. You're in a complete surveillance state. So Palantir has been set up to create a database on every American. So this is coming, and you see how much the news people are going to push back on this, right? Zero, because they're controlled by Zionists. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm going to cover more of this in my next segment. So there you go. Zionism is your enemy. Zionism is the enemy of the world. Zionism is the enemy of freedom of speech. Zionism is the enemy of freedom and truth. And there you go. And Trump is 100% Zionist. Congratulations. You got suckered. And if you want to hear my jokes about this, come see me January 11th in Waikiki. February 20th in Lansing, Michigan. February 21st in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Should we go to Rumble?
I think so. You ready?
Okay, we're going to go over to Rumble. We're going to talk about Alex Jones going off on Candace Owens. We're going to talk about Silicon Valley being the deep state, which it is, and a lot more. See you over at Rumble.
See you there.